There you go. Assalamu alaikum. We are live and we welcome you to this Q&A session. Adnan, what's been happening in the world of dawah this week?
Wow, subhanAllah. A lot, mashallah, a lot has been happening. We are live right now on Sabur Ahmed's channel. Okay, and this is just a random thing we're doing. Sometimes we just wake up and start doing random things, and we don't even know why we're doing those things.
Bismillah.
So maybe, inshallah, Allah will reward us, inshallah, for this.
So let's talk firstly about went to Peru, went to Ecuador, went to Latin America. What did you see? Your first experiences of Latin America, what would you describe them as?
Beautiful, absolutely amazing. Beautiful people, beautiful land. Of course, there are challenges. In Brazil, we saw some unfortunate things like people on drugs on the
Oh,
streets and all sorts of things. Like zombies. But other than that, there's a lot of dawah potential. People will accept Islam
mhm.
because clearly Catholicism is not doing anything for them. It hasn't done anything for that continent. If anything, there's more corruption, more like you know killings and massacres almost. In the last 50 years, we've seen a lot of drug related violence in Latin America, and now people want peace, and Islam, alhamdulillah, will bring peace to the whole world,
Mhm.
inshallah. Okay, and people do accept. So my experience in Brazil, Peru, and Ecuador has been amazing. People are beautiful, and they will accept Islam, inshallah, if we do our dawah properly, if we do our work properly, inshallah.
Yeah.
So how are we going to get questions?
So people are going to jump in and
Okay.
they're going to jump into the live stream. We're
People are
gonna.
probably gonna. People are probably thinking that these guys just do random things,
Well, actually, they like
unannounced,
it
unannounced.
unannounced.
Yeah,
I mean, at any given moment on the internet, there's people always
yeah,
watching. So, what do you think is the Dow potential of Latin America?
huge. Muslims have neglected Latin America for far too long
Hmm.
because they think it is a distant land that
Hmm.
has no direct connection to us. But
Yeah.
those people, they are our responsibility.
Hmm.
Really need to take care of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of our potential in Latin America.
Brilliant.
Okay.
So we have our first questioner, Habib, Italy. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How you doing, brother?
So, what type of question can you ask?
It's just a general live Q&A, although questions related to more current Dawa events would be more appreciated.
Don't ask us any questions about cooking.
Yeah.
We don't
Oh
know.
no. Okay. So I. So
Where
do
you
you know?
calling?
Yeah,
Where are you calling from?
Italy,
Italy,
North
Masha.
North Italy. I'm Pakistani, so
Oh, you're close to Alps, Italian Alps,
Italian Arabs.
Alps,
Ah,
Al.
Alps,
Alps. Oh yeah, Alps. Yeah.
mountains.
North Milan.
I don't know about Milan, but North Italy is beautiful. When
Yeah,
Italy, meets Austria, it's absolutely amazing that territory. No, Italian Alps are just amazing.
yeah.
What's the question,
That,
brother?
that's right. So I was wondering about some books about Islamic history from which I can start learning.
Okay, basic books. I would say start with the Lost Islamic History. Start with that by Firas Al Khatib. It's a very good book, very good start. That's the
Let me
first
just
book I
write
would.
it down. Lost.
The Lost Islamic History.
Yeah.
By who?
Firas Al Khatib. I may have a
Oh,
copy of it somewhere around me. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, there might be a copy here.
It's a very famous book.
Yeah, I actually took it home.
so
Yeah,
because I have the preaching of Islam,
yeah,
also the hidden depth of Islamic civilization,
amazing, amazing book.
and the legacy of Islam,
Yes,
and just got the influence of Islam on medieval Europe,
okay,
and that's all.
brilliant. Is that by Montgomery Watt?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, good books. And then you can do this Lost Islamic History as well. This will give
Okay.
you so much stuff, which is amazing. You have encyclopedias already in your possession. Start reading, inshallah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. Yeah.
So
So
what?
yeah, go on.
So the thing is, somebody could ask the question, Adnan. Is that the only question you had, brother Habib? Yeah.
Another question is about dawah, because we have started 2 months ago dawah program here in Italy, and
Mashallah.
we are wondering about the new step we can take for the new Muslim, because it's a different scenario here in Italy.
There you go. That's a good question for you, Adnan.
Steps we can take for new Muslims.
Because there is a lot, it's kind of second Pakistan, like Italy. There are a lot of how do you say, ignorance. People really don't know much about Islam. They only know about what this is on news or friend of
So,
friend.
so the
So
first thing you do is, brother, learn the Italian language. Number one is the language.
yeah,
Learn the
yeah,
language, or find new Muslim converts to Islam and teach them how to do dawah in the Italian language. Okay. So what you do is, first thing is the language, brother. Without the language, you can't get to the people.
yeah,
Okay. If
sure.
the language is
I'm
broken,
here since I
language is
was
bad.
4. So
Yeah, that's the first thing, brother. Take it very seriously. If you want to be successful in your dawah, focus on the language. If you don't know the language of a people, it's very difficult to get to them. Okay, number one is language, and number two is get those people who know the language, like Italian converts. If you have Italian converts, reverts, teach them how to do dawah. Okay, once they know how to do dawah, you will have you can say a movement, inshallah.
yeah.
Thank you, brother Habib. We have a few other people asking questions.
Jazakallah khair.
Thank you for your time.
Assalamu alaikum, Allah bless you. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you.
Okay, so we have this question from Irfan.
Yeah.
Tell Qadianis about the Ummati hadith, Isa as in instructing people to go to Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to intercede on their behalf and not to Mirza Qadian.
Yeah. So Qadianis know that, but they ignore it. They know all this stuff. Okay. A lot of the Qadianis, they know this stuff. Unfortunately, they ignore it. That's why we need to teach them about the person they claim to be a prophet of Allah, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. The only person they don't know in this is their own so-called prophet. Okay. Qadianis know all these, arguments and these verses and all that, right? The only thing they don't know is their own prophet, or the one they claim to be a prophet. So the first thing we have to do as Muslims is to teach them about the man they claim to be a prophet after Rasulullah, after Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
So Al Faisal, welcome. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Where you calling?
Forgive me, I'm calling from Bangladesh.
Nice. Thank you for joining us.
Forgive me, Subur brother, my English is not so good, so I might be, traveling. I might have traveled to connect with you. So my question is, I used to watch your videos, hijabs videos, and others speakers corner videos. So I'm very much interested in learning the basic philosophical terms such as the reduction, these kinds of stuff I don't understand, and subjectivity, objectivity, and I have so much trouble in understanding the highly academic debates when you go to the Oxford, Oxford Academy, Oxford Union, and I have trouble. So could you please launch a course for teachers, these very basic philosophical things? It would be helpful for a lot of students. Those are trying to learn Islam and know Islam. Thank you. This is my a humble request to you.
Yes, we actually have something going on with Sapiens Londonia. So you can join the Londonia videos, and you can also join the other courses that they are promoting online. And that's where you'll be able to find this information, inshallah. So thank you for your question, brother Al Faisal. We have some more people joining us, so I'll move on to them. Thank you, brother Faisal.
Thank you, brother. Hello.
Assalamu alaikum, Abu Zar. How are you
Wa
doing?
alaikum salam. I'm doing fine. I am speaking from Pakistan. I want to ask a question.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm asking about ring structure and mathematical structure of Holy Quran. I see you guys very rarely using this argument while giving dawah. So, what is the reason behind it? Do you not find it strong enough, or is it? What is the reason?
I don't really know much about.
No, Adnan Rashid does know.
So
He has a video on blogging theology. What do you
we
think
do
about
use
that argument?
we do use certain aspects of it. Um, this argument is something new, and most dais don't feel comfortable with it because it was never used by classical scholars or never used by anyone else. So we can use few things. For example, Surah Baqarah, the middle verse is 143, and it states, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. We have made you a balanced nation.
Yeah.
And it's the largest surah in the Quran, and this verse falls right in the middle, and the verse states that we have made you a balanced nation. So that's not a coincidence. Then we have other examples like when Allah says in the Quran, Surah Al Imran, Inna masala Isa indallahi kamathali Adama. Okay, Isa to Allah is like Adam. Okay, so that likeness is in basically their birth, both their births, right? But mathematically, they are both mentioned exactly the same time in the Quran, 25 times each. Amazingly, with the verses, if I'm not mistaken, it's chapter 3, verse 59. If I'm not mistaken, it's Surah Al Imran, verse 59. So if you take chapter 1 to 359, they both mentioned 7 times each, and from 359 to the chapter last, they are both mentioned 18 times each. So it seems to be mathematical coded as well. We do use it as a major argument. So
Yes, and there are many other examples as well, like Ayatul Kursi ring structure. I'm sure you are aware of it.
You see,
even though it wasn't used by Salaf, yeah, but we are discovering it now. So what's the problem? I think this is one of the strongest arguments.
The problem is there was this guy called Rashid Khalifa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He started to use the mathematical argument, and then he started to use it to debunk the Quran.
Is he the 19 guy?
Yeah. So he apostatized. Yeah. You know, the one who came up with this 19 theory, alayha tisa ashara. So that's why it put a lot of scholars,
bad taste in them.
Yeah, it left a bad taste basically. So we do use things that we can ourselves confirm from the Quran, and other things people make claim. So until they are fully acknowledged and popularized by the ulama and the orthodox authorities of Islam, we don't tend to use them. We have many more powerful arguments, but there are things we do use, like the examples I gave you. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you, brother.
Where is he? Is he gone?
He's disappeared.
Okay.
So we will go on to brother Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. Where are you calling in from?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am calling from Denmark.
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah. Which city?
From Odense. It's Denmark's third biggest city.
Allahu Akbar. MashaAllah.
Yeah.
People watching all around the world.
Yes.
The rarest of places. So how are you doing, brother? What's your question?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I'm doing great. I look a lot of YouTube guys in YouTube, and mashallah, I'm a big follower of YouTube. Mashallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring you peace and take you to Jannah, inshallah.
Ameen, Ya Rab. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes. Barakallahu feekum. I am originally from, I'm Palestinian, but my parents moved to Denmark, you know, in the war in Lebanon. So they come here in 80s, and I'm born and raised here in Denmark.
Excellent, brother. I hope you're setting up some dawah teams there and doing some dawah activities in Denmark.
Yes.
If not, to join us.
Yes, Alhamdulillah, I'm doing because I learn a lot from you guys and the others like Hamza and Sheikh Uthman and all the other guys, mashallah. Allahumma barik. So I given dawah here, and one of my Danish colleague, he's about 31 years old. I talked with him about Islam. Alhamdulillah, after 6 months, he became Muslim.
MashaAllah.
Yes,
What's your question, brother?
My question is that when I talk with atheists, they told me, you know, in Denmark there's a lot of atheists here. So they told me that the human beings.
Hey,
We've lost you.
your sound is gone.
We've lost you. So try to come back in, Brother Muhammad.
We don't trust that we come from human beings. And my question is, what are these skulls that they show me that look like apes?
Yeah.
They told me it's evolution, and I have big discussion with them. So maybe you can explain me better, so I can explain them next time I meet the Danish people here.
Yeah. So the first thing to know is any skull of any hominid or any ape-like creature that they're claiming is ancestral to the human being. We don't deny the observation of the fossil itself. We don't deny the fact that there is a fossil which is perhaps millions of years old, and that fossil is of an ancient primate of some sort, and they are saying that this primate is the ancestor of human beings.
Mm.
What we do is we challenge the inferences that are being made, and the inferences that are being made using assumptions. The primary assumption being of homology, that similarities are due to common descent. The second assumption is common, that there's one origin, that all of life goes back to one origin. The third assumption is the mechanism of natural selection and random mutations being the means by which this actually took place. The fourth assumption is that of methodological naturalism. And methodological naturalism would simply mean that no matter what we find in nature, it has to be explained naturalistically. So you cannot have separate origins. So considering all the assumptions, we can simply say, yeah, that's fine. You are stating that this is a ancestral human being. You are stating that this is a common ancestor between us and the chimpanzee, or whatever it is. We will say you're fine with that conclusion, but you have to admit that there are these assumptions. So as soon as you point out the assumptions, that's when people start to get pale, because they start to realize actually there's a lot more going on than just the observation. What they want us to do is they want us to accept an observation is sufficient for us to make the conclusion of common ancestry, when the observation is not sufficient. And I always give people these 5 points. Okay, these 5 points. Every single time somebody is using a scientific argument, and in this context, we're talking about Darwinian arguments, there's 5 things they have to consider. The 5 things they have to consider are the problem of induction. I'm not going to go into this in more detail because I've got courses on this, but problem of induction. You can always get a new observation which can challenge your previous theory. Underdetermination, which is you can always have a different interpretation based upon the same data. The problem of unconceived alternatives. This is what we get between the Newtonian and the Einsteinian worldview. There may be alternatives which are unconceived in your mind. Then there's theory ladenness, which is that your theory always colors the data and chooses what's relevant and what's not relevant. And the last one is naturalism, which is science will never allow you to have non-naturalistic explanations because of a new definition of science, which came about pretty much in the last 100 or so years. So these are the foundational assumptions of science and the foundational assumptions of the inferences that they actually make. And that's all we need to do. We simply need to point out, these are your assumptions. Now, if someone comes up to me and they say to me, the Book of Mormon is, the word of God, all I simply need to do is challenge the foundations of the Book of Mormon. It doesn't matter what it comes up with, right? So that's what we do with Darwinism. And you can go to the Sapiens channel, and I've got a talk on there, a recent one, for the Londonia series. You can watch that one as well, inshallah.
Okay, mashallah. Barakallahu feek for the explanation. I will use it, inshallah ta'ala, and I will look some of your videos for explanation. So,
Brother. By the way,
Jazakumullah khair.
Wayak. By the way, there's a very interesting Jazakallah khair, Brother Muhammad. I'm going to remove you from the stream now.
Yes.
And others join. Jazakallah khair. Just on that point, there was recently a debate between Richard Dawkins and Dennis Noble. I don't know if you heard about this.
Yeah, you told me about it.
So this debate, brothers and sisters, I've made maybe 5 videos on this now. The problem is, Adnan, you probably realize this, right? When you're doing niche historical topics and something revolutionary happens, the public doesn't know. That's the problem with the Dennis Noble and the Richard Dawkins debate.
Right.
As much noise as we want to try and create, the people don't understand the significance of this. But I just want to summarize it for you. Dennis Noble is an Oxford professor, just like Richard Dawkins, but he was the supervisor. In fact, the PhD of Richard Dawkins was approved by.
So he's the teacher of.
He's the teacher, and he is considered a authority in the field.
Okay.
And what he did in that debate was what William Lane Craig did to Christopher Hitchens, or what Sam Harris was dealt with, the way he was dealt with William Lane Craig. It was a complete defeater. Richard Dawkins is coming up with selfish gene perspective. Dennis Noble is quoting to him papers and experiments he's done himself to disprove the selfish gene perspective. And the sad thing is the vast majority of people don't understand the significance of this. And it's sad, isn't it?
Because it's such a technical, topic. People understand popular language, but they don't understand academic language, unfortunately. They don't even understand the implications of academic language. That's the problem. So someone needs to simplify it. Someone needs to simplify it, and then people probably will realize that this debate is a historic debate. Okay, where Dawkins was dealt with.
Although,
nicely,
by the way, just to add,
by one of his own.
In the biological community, it is understood it was a historical debate. And I'll tell you something interesting, Adnan, right? So if I just, what they did is this debate was not popular because, sorry, on YouTube, they didn't actually allow anybody to put it up, okay? Because they had something going on there.
Wow.
Now, this particular debate
generated a lot of response. Huh?
You can just see everywhere.
Wow.
Literally, okay, this is a post-debate interview by Noble on some random YouTube channel. You can see it's had how many views?
165. No, sorry. The views are very little.
No. 3.
Wow. Nearly 500,000.
Nearly 500,000 for him simply regurgitating what happened in the debate. And the 5-minute clip of the debate you can see online, it's got like 130,000 for an academic technical debate.
Yeah,
that's pretty viral.
Well, Dawkins seems to be already. He seems to have been humbled by almost everyone who interviews him. Dawkins was recently humbled by even what's his name?
Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan, yeah. Simple questions, simple, hard-hitting questions, without using too much academic mumbo jumbo and gymnastics.
Yeah,
he could not answer or give clear answers to simple questions.
No.
So atheists or neo-atheists, basically, they don't realize they are themselves following a cult.
No.
It's a personality cult.
Yeah,
that's what it is. They worship degrees, they worship books, and I mean, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. Dawkins' books get pushed as well.
They do.
They get pushed. So, and people, when they write against Dawkins and his ideas, for some reason, those books don't find the same level of audience.
No, they don't.
Because they don't get pushed. They're not marketed as well.
Yeah. So you can see here, this is another random video, but this is in Chinese or Japanese, I can't tell.
Right.
And it's got nearly 500,000 views.
Yeah.
So anywhere where this video does pop up for such a technical academic debate, it went viral. But I wanted to add something about what you were saying about academics, challenging Dawkins and them not being accepted. Michael Roos is accepted as the most credible authority on Darwinism. He's actually published the most books on Darwinism. He is actually the founder of Biology and Philosophy, the journal. Right?
Okay.
Everybody knows Michael Roos. Okay. He said, "I am embarrassed to be an atheist because of what Richard Dawkins is doing." So these are the sorts of things that we are not actually aware of, and we have to understand.
Can you pull that book out? Hating God, bottom shelf, the last third last book.
Yes.
Okay, this is why Michael Roos is embarrassed. because of this attitude, hating God. This is what neo-atheism is about, basically. You know, people like Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, and, you know, popular neo-atheistic philosophers and talkers and speakers. This is why they are hating God. Okay, the untold story of mesotheism. Okay, hating God as a term philosophically, mesotheism. Okay, it's a very interesting book that one has to read. Okay, Bernard Schweizer. Okay, that's the name. So this is why Dawkins is an embarrassment for a lot of atheists, serious atheists, or scientific atheists, if you want to call them that, right? Because they are academically honest. They do highlight that what we believe in is basically, you know, our own, you know, lack of conviction. That's what it is. Okay, but they don't hate people who believe in God, because they acknowledge that people who believe in God have grounds, powerful philosophical arguments. Okay, because science is limited by its application. Science only looks at the natural world, explaining it naturalistically. Okay, the supernatural is not a point of discussion in science. The supernatural doesn't exist as far as current science, for philosophy of science is concerned, right? Okay, so that's why honest atheists who are honest, or honest scientific atheists, they will acknowledge that theists, you cannot hate them because they choose to believe in God, because they have philosophical arguments to prove that. Okay, and even science complements, I mean, many scientific findings complement some of the philosophical arguments we use for the existence of God.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And one of the most important aspects, which is neglected, and I've spoke about this before on the channel, is near-death experiences and how they've been documented in scientific journals.
Yeah.
There are people who actually describe in detail near-death experiences which don't fit naturalism. Rupert Sheldrake's book, The Science Delusion, goes over some of the other assumptions of science and these types of things. So, Adnan, in the park, you know, there's been some discussions, and you know, you focus on giving dawah to a complete different demographic. But you happen to be challenged by a certain group of people who, I guess, thought they could, you know, hoodwink you with some ideas of this new religion, right? What I mean, I'm assuming you don't really have much time for this. You just gave them a few challenges, and like, what's the plan?
Gave who?
The Qadianis.
The plan is basically to highlight the flawed nature of the arguments when they try to defend a person who is defensible. Okay, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani, we have nothing personal against him. Okay, he was alive in the 19th century, died in the early 20th century. Okay, he claimed to be a prophet of Allah after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had put out so many categorical statements saying, there is no prophet after me. There is no prophet after me. La nabiyya ba'di. There is no prophet coming after me. So if a person out of his madness claims to be a prophet of Allah, we can't take him seriously. And when we study his life carefully, when we study his works carefully, that the Qadianis, the Ahmadis have themselves published in London at the printing presses. And this collection is called Ruhani Khazain, okay, which literally translated means spiritual treasures. Okay, it is a collection of over 80 works of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. It's like an anthology, okay, of his works put together in 20 odd volumes. Okay, so when you read those works, there are so many unbelievable contradictions that one is baffled by the sheer number of contradictions in his own writings. Okay, how he kept changing his mind on things, how he claimed to be inspired by Allah directly, and then his inspiration for some reason kept changing from time to time. Okay, so this is not a consistent man. This is not even a sane person, let alone a moral person. Okay, he wasn't even sane fully, right? So I've been just told that the Ahmadis, the Qadianis have been told not to debate anyone.
That's because
No. I mean, I've just seen something on Twitter that a statement has been issued by the authorities not to indulge in debates. So the Ahmadis and the Qadianis are not allowed to debate, basically.
because of what's been happening online.
Yes. because of what happened in the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So we have Yasin
Yeah.
joining us. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
How are you, brother?
I have a question. It's not on exactly the topic you were talking about, so I
Sure.
hope I'm not intruding.
Sure.
About some books, maybe you can recommend us some books for basic understanding of like these evolutionary topics. I feel like for me personally, it's like there are like a lot of too many books to choose from. So
Yeah.
and I don't want to be like led astray by this book that's not good. So like Islamically friendly evolutionary books, if you
Yeah.
understand what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, what I would recommend is firstly read the most important book, I believe, that's been written on this topic in terms of atheist-theist discussions. It's quite an old book, actually. It's called Darwin on Trial by Philip Johnson. That's one of the earliest books I read on this topic, and it's the best. Philip Johnson passed away maybe 20 years ago, but he's the father of the modern intelligent design movement. So that's his book. The other book is The Wedge of Truth, which is another book by him. And then what I would say is you got your standard bread and butter books. You got to read Darwin's Black Box, Signature in the Cell, Evolutionary Theory in Crisis. There's a really good book called A Politically Incorrect Guide to Intelligent Design by Jonathan Wells. Zombie Science, again, by Jonathan Wells. What else would I recommend? Oh, yes, the new book by Stephen Meyer, which is The Return of the God Hypothesis. So these are some really good basic books, accessible to the public. But if you want to read more advanced books which are critiquing, Darwinian evolution, there are some, but you need to get through the basic ones first. I'm trying to think of something which will be maybe mid-level. You could try I mean, what I would do is I would just go and look at my talks, and there's in the lectures I have some slides where I refer to some books. So there's Jerry Fodor's book, What Darwin Got Wrong. That's quite philosophical. There's Thomas Nagel's Mind and Cosmos. Again, that's not mid-level, that's maybe a bit high level. So these are some of the more advanced books, but I would say just stick to the more basic ones, and they will go over a lot of the things which are being discussed. Oh, of course, Dennis Noble's books, The Music of Life. That's a fantastic book to challenge neo-Darwinism. And Noble also has another book. There's The Music of Life, and there's another book on structural biology. Systems biology he has. So you can also look up some of those things. But Philip Johnson's book, Darwin on Trial, I think is sufficient for you to be able to refute maybe 90-something% or 95% of the people that you come across.
Thanks a lot. Jazakallah khairan.
No worries, brother. Okay, next we will go to Muhammad.
We should do another 10 minutes and then stop. Inshallah.
Okay, cool. Muhammad Jakir Ali.
Hello, Assalamu brothers. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Welcome, salam. Yes, we can.
Okay, salam. How are you, brothers? Let's talk about his evolution. Just basically, I've looked at your videos.
Talk about evolution. I wanted.
I'm sorry. You're the person, isn't it? Like I watched your videos, throughout so many years, and you got very good insight of evolution. And Dr. Shah Ahmed Malik, he's as well. Your engagement with him, very good dialogue. What I want to try to say basically is, I've got a new concept of this solution to this evolution problem. So I was I'm trying to argue basically the Adam was created from, the clay, the thin, had genetic material of Homo sapiens. Would that change the narrative? What do you think? How?
This is more Schwabe's area. I focus on refuting Darwinism. He focuses on if Darwinism is valid, right?
Mm.
How do we address it? What is the flexibilities? What is the inflexibilities? That kind of thing. So that would fall into his remit. I wouldn't even go as, and this is where me and Shoaib have different approaches, and we're happy
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have we have these, publicly. I'm happy to challenge the very foundations of Darwinism and leave it there, rather than us having to address these types of questions. I mean, it's I sometimes think of it like, I made this video, Adnan. Some of the Hanafi brothers found it really funny. It's called "Was Homo erectus a Hanafi?" So basically, Homo erectus is fiqh, his madhab, whatever. Like, who cares? Like, how does that impact the truthfulness of the Quran, the truthfulness of the Prophet ﷺ?
These are terminologies. These are terminologies to describe human development, and the Quran or Islam doesn't necessarily contradict all these terminologies or categorizations made by scientists. Okay, the Quran uses the term insan. Insan. What is insan? Insan basically is, as defined in Islamic sources, is the human being with certain characteristics. As long as those characteristics are found in a species, that species, however developed or undeveloped it may be, it is insan. Does that make sense? Okay,
that makes sense. Yeah, I understand. But I've actually, to be honest, I've actually made a video about this. To be honest, I've done quite a bit of research for 1-2 years. My own research. I'm not an academic, but I went to YouTube, read articles, and I don't want to share my channel, but I've got a video called Bio Adam. So I went through history for the last 7 million years and basically tried to put them together. And basically, what I've come across was there's 2 words in the Quran: Bashar and Insan. So I think
you see
Surah 30. So,
you see, this has been done before, and Shreya actually addressed it. It was done in the past, and it actually caused a lot of problems.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I researched into it again. I'm trying to come with the solution, basically, inshallah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. We don't need a solution. That's my point. We don't.
I understand.
Like the main crux of the argument is there is nothing.
Naturalism, isn't it?
Yeah, there is nothing in evolutionary biology which is certain, which can challenge the Quranic narrative. If you want to delve into something, and I think Adnan's going to find this interesting, delve into this and we can end the live stream on this, right? William Lane Craig has come up with his own solution, which is interesting. You should look into it, right? He says, the first
750,000 years ago, Heidelberg and this.
Yeah,
is that right?
The first human was Heidel. Where was it?
Heidelbergensis, I think. He's trying to say Adam was born 750,000 years ago.
So basically, there's 12 traits that you need to be close to a Homo sapien like us.
The characteristics.
The characteristics. He says we can, instead of these people bringing in these hominid fossils and Denisovans and Neanderthals, are the Neanderthals, interbreeding with us? No, his solution is Denisovans, Homo naledi, Neanderthals. They all go back to the Adamic lineage. That's a potential solution. So if you want, you can look into that, because I thought that was pretty interesting.
But to be honest, I looked into that. It's in my video I made. But what I'm trying to say is basically, me personally, I think I found a solution to this problem. I made a video. So but it's like you know how you debated the Ahmadis.
Yeah.
Last few weeks, you smashed them, innit? It's like that you went right to the heart of the Ahmadis and basically broke the heart pretty much, and all the Muslims are happy now. So it's be like that basically. You want to get into basically break the narrative of evolution altogether in one go.
So look, the way I would do it is this, right? I mean, maybe Adnan's going to disagree with this example, but I'll put it this way. If I wanted to talk to a Qadiani, I would simply make this very simple point. Maybe, I don't know if it's valid or not. I'll make a very simple point, which is, so this new guy comes, right? Why is it that this new guy is basically such a
important?
Such a blip on the map. Okay, when the Prophet ﷺ came, we had the crushing of the Romans, the crushing of the Persians. We had 20 terrestrial empires. We had this massive. socio-economic, political change across the world. But if this guy is true, it's hugely underwhelming, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the impact of this guy if he's supposed to be?
Well, he didn't do nothing.
Okay, Adnan, he's supposed to be the second coming of the Prophet and the greater one, according to.
Yeah.
So why is the impact? So what I would say, the same thing with evolution, is I would say, why is it that the foundational claim of Darwinism is so underwhelming? All of life, a blade of grass, a bee, an elephant, Adnan, all goes back to one common ancestor billions of years ago. From one cell, through natural selection, everything came. That is incredibly underwhelming. When I first understood this, I couldn't believe that was their claim. That's how ridiculous it was. So I would say their claims are underwhelming. The evidence is so scattered. Do you know what they do? So, Adnan, pick up. Look, I have all of these books here, and I have one. I think one of the biggest collections, inshallah, in London. Yeah, even more than probably professors. When you ask them for evidence from the first cell 4 billion years ago to all of the billions of species, do you know what they give you? The peppered moth example. You probably know this, Mama Jakir. They give you a peppered moth example of peppered moth being on trees, industrial sut, make trees dark, then they survive. They say that's natural. That's just natural selection. They use this little piece of evidence to make the grand claim all of life came from one cell. The same way the Qadianis, they're using these little things. Okay, here's just some guy in India or whatever, and he's a world prophet.
I don't think there is any correlation between the Qadianis and
why not
Darwinists. Okay, but I think Darwinists,
they're both British projects.
They make huge leaps of faith.
There you go.
Huge leaps of faith. They use inferences to make factual points. Okay, they deceive people. They deceive people. They lie to people. They make an illusion into a reality. Okay, they make an illusion into a reality. So you have to be very careful about how they present evidence and how they spin it and how they conclude ideas from it. Okay, there are some other.
So, thank you, brothers. Thank you for your time.
Assalamu alaikum.
If you can, have a look at my video if you can, if you got time. Thank you, brothers. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. It's called Bio Adam, but
I'll check it out.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Islam. We end here.
No, let's check this person out just very quickly.
Assalamu alaikum, Sabur Ahmed and Adnan Rashid. How are you guys? Kaise hain aap log? So I was going to ask you like a very simple thing right now. So I just recently had this discussion with this Christian, and I'm just going to keep.
Firstly, are you the Muslim Tom Cruise?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a picky name. So
okay.
Yeah, so I gotta say this. Yeah, so I just recently had this debate. I won't be able to ask like a much longer question because I know it's quick. So I gotta just say this. Matthew 24:36. The Father knows the hour, but Jesus does not know the hour. The Holy Spirit also does not know the hour, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Their argument is, for example, they say that Jesus is basically in his human form, and he's trying to show us how to basically worship God, and that's why, from his limited capacity, he knows the hour, but he won't tell us. And this verse is trying to say that basically Jesus knows the hour, but he doesn't. Actually, the more I think about it, the more illogical it sounds. But the verse explicitly states not the Son.
So you have to ask them, when did Jesus jump into the human body, and when did he jump out of the human body? Because Jesus, according to them, sometimes spoke as God in flesh, and sometimes when problems like this arise, they start to pull him out, drag him out of the human body, and say that this is just human body. The divine nature, they keep switching Jesus into divine and human as it suits them. They have no justification to do that. They have no authority to do that. They have no evidence for that. Okay, even the issue of two natures of Christ. You know how long it was debated for in Christian history? There are two things that go against Christianity. Two things that go against Christianity. Okay, two. Number one is basically the Bible itself. The Bible itself debunks Christianity. The Bible. I'm being very responsible with this. When I say Christianity, I mean Trinitarianism and the divinity of Jesus Christ, and even Catholicism, much of it. Okay?
Yeah.
And the second thing is history. If you master two things, the Bible and the history of Christianity in the first 300 years in particular, then you have mastered all arguments to debunk Christianity and their main claims. You know the nature of Christ, whether he was human being and God at the same time or not, or whether he had one nature or two natures. This was debated as late as the 6th century CE. What the hell is going on? What games are these Christians playing? So
And
these are
to ask
later
you,
ideas. These are later ideas postulated by Christians, projected backwards into the Bible. So they do eisegesis in the Bible. They establish ideas, they come to believe in certain things, and they start to read those things into the text. The text is not talking, they are talking to the text. They are making the text speak the language they want to speak, not the other way around. So that's all we can say at this time. You know, this is the best way to look at things. So
yeah,
they have no reasons to tell us, or they have no reasons to give us as to why Jesus keeps jumping out of the human body. If Jesus is divine, is God the Son, why is he jumping, like why is he hopping in and out, in and out, in and out? So when he's making a
okay.
statement that goes against his divine, I mean his divinity, or your claim to his divinity, then why does he suddenly become a human being? Oh, he's
Exactly.
humble
If
nature.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, also the text in Colossians that mentioned that Jesus came fully, in his nature and deity and so on and so forth. I know about all that. I presented my arguments, but their argument was that God, why are you questioning the power of God? God can do anything, right? So God can do that.
Yeah,
So
God can do anything, but not just because you say he can do this and that. They think
exactly,
Jesus jumps out of the human body and jumps back in, right? They say
yeah,
this. They have no authority to claim this. If it was clear in the Bible, why were they having debates for 5 centuries? 500
exactly,
years they're debating the nature of
yeah,
Christ. 500 years, brother. Come on. Is that a joke? Okay.
yeah,
Were your scholars so dumb? They were so stupid that they couldn't read the Bible and understand it? Why were you debating 500 years? Because it is not clear. You're claiming things that things are there, but they're not there. I hope that
correct.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, thank you so much, man. And that clears a lot of stuff, and also the already stuff that I have, plus this stuff, man. Thank you so much. It really,
No worries.
like,
Most
thank you so
welcome.
much. All right, take care.
Thank
Assalamu
you.
alaikum.
Sorry for everybody that's waiting. Jazakallah khair for joining
Well,
us.
there might be some.
They are.
Just quickly, yeah. Well,
Go on then.
just very quickly. One, maybe we'll give them 10 seconds each. Assalamu alaikum. You have very limited time. Go ahead because we have to finish the stream. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We're gonna have to move on.
Sorry, Isa Khalil. Isa Khalil. There we go.
Had to stream. Isa Khalil, assalamu alaikum. You're live.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was just wondering, okay, I tried contacting you guys through Instagram a decent while ago, and you guys never got back to me. I was just wondering if we can set a one-on-one meeting, just because I am a Muslim, but I am struggling with some shubuhat, and I was wondering if you can advise me to any services or any things like.
Clearly,
We have a service for this. It's called Lighthouse Mentoring.
I've already used it, but I need someone with a bit more knowledge about, for example, abiogenesis. I know you, Sabur, you are very knowledgeable about this, so I tried contacting you directly, but I never got through to you.
Yeah, I can't do one-to-one sessions because I get loads of requests on this. But abiogenesis, like, is it a doubt? Because it's like James Tour. Have you seen his stuff?
I have seen James' tour, yes. My brain is a bit irrational on this. I think it's because shaitan. But basically, I understand it's practical impossibility. But, it's just that Shubhat is trying to tell me there's that small chance, that small chance.
No, brother. This is waswas.
Yeah.
And this is a spiritual issue. You need to do a lot of askar, do dhikr, because this is waswas. This has got nothing to do with the reality and the arguments. Okay. So
All
just do ruqya and read a lot of du'as, ask Allah for guidance, and control your thinking.
Understood.
Thinking. You really have to control your mind. You have to be on top of your mind, not the other way around, because human mind can take you anywhere.
Absolutely.
It can take you anywhere.
Yeah, that I have to agree to. Your mind can go into very strange places.
Human mind can do wild things. Okay, so
Mhm.
so you have to control your thinking.
Yeah.
You have to control your thinking. Okay, you have to
Yeah.
learn
Thank
how
you.
to control your thoughts. Okay, brother. That's
Any
your
particular du'as that you guys would tell me to go through?
I would say there's a very comprehensive dua. A'udhu bi kalimatillahi tammat min sharri ma khalaq. This is one of the most powerful duas. Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. When you get these kind of thoughts, just do Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil, Hasbi Allah, and try to get rid of these thoughts. Just ignore them, okay? Anything
Inshallah.
that doesn't make sense, just ignore it, okay? Inshallah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Brother Isa, Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, very quickly, let's move on.
Oh, we've done Yasin, I think.
Okay, what's that?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Cancel that.
Okay. Yasin, you're live. Assalamu alaikum. Yasin, have we already talked to you? Yasin, assalamu alaikum. Yasin, we cannot hear you. Assalamu alaikum, Yasin. Okay.
Let's end it there.
1 second. Assalamu alaikum. We cannot hear you, brother. Your internet is bad.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
There you go.
Okay, remove.
No, it's fine. Just click here.
Khalas, brothers and sisters, we have to end the live now. May Allah bless you. Jazakumullah khair. And we will keep doing these lives randomly and be there for us. And we will try our best to answer your questions. Assalamu alaikum.